Namaste. Hi, I'm Bruce Benefiel, also known as Zendor, and welcome to One World. Welcome to this edition of One World. We've got a very special guest, and being Zendor, or being your door to what is, I'd like to share with you some perspectives of the Native American culture. Now, we'll be talking this evening about the Phoenix Indian School Project and also a play called Indians Discover Christopher Columbus. And with us in the studio today is a very special guest, Jean Choudhuri. Now, Jean is also a fourth-generation ceremonial storyteller, so she's going to have a lot of neat things to share with us. And with that, Jean, welcome. Good to have you here.
It's good to see you, Bruce. It's always a pleasure to be with you.
Now, and a pleasure for me, too. I'm honored every time I have the chance to sit with Native Americans because of your heritage and actually your outlook on the world, and which I think is a much truer perspective, honoring all our relations, all life, being one world. Now, with it, the Indians Discover Christopher Columbus. Now, you've done a lot of work on that. What initially prompted you to do something like this? Now, we are coming up on the quinticentennial celebration of the discovery of America by Christopher Columbus, at least as far as white man's view is. Right. But the Native Americans have a much different view. Could you share with us?
I would love to, but before I go into it, we always say that we as Native American Indians and all of our relatives, we should be of one mind, one thought, one spirit. And I want to do the Energizer song, if you don't mind.
Sure.
I think everybody in the Valley knows that if they don't know it, they're going to hear it.
Okay.
Because we are yo, hi yo, hi yo. We are hi yo, hi yo, hi yo. We are hi yo, we are hi yo, hi yo. We are hi yo, hi yo, hi yo. We are hi yo, hi yo, hi yo. We are hi yo, we are hi yo, hi yo. Means gathering of the energy of being one thought, one mind, and oneness, and God the Creator. And 1992 will mark the arrival of Christopher Columbus. Many Indians are saying the invasion. But the life before Christopher Columbus, I would really like to share with you. They tell us that mothers were still yet singing to their children, having them to go to sleep because tomorrow will be a good day. You will enjoy the life as it is before Christopher Columbus through our oral traditions, which has been handed down generations to generation. We think that mothers may have been singing to their children in a traditional way, caressing their babies and singing songs. Baby-ko-chee, hogo-sogo-chee, baby-bo-chee-do, sogo-sogo-chee, baby, no, just sing, go to sleep, little baby, go to sleep. For there are little hunters out in the forest, hunting little rabbits, little turtles, etc. And dream of these little animals. Sleep, my child. And also before Christopher Columbus' arrival, we also have heard a wonderful Algonquin Indian chief used to tell the story and sing, sons belongs to fathers. Fathers, treat the gentility of the curiosity of your child. Fathers, give time to your children when they are young. Teach them the way of the forest and the breezes that comes forth. and let them know the tracks that our brothers, the animals, the deer, the bear, truly nurtures us. Fathers, give time to your children. When they are old, when they are young men, they will sit by your feet, and they will thirst after your knowledge, and will remind you of those golden, happy days that they learned from you. For you are the carrier of the seeds of wisdom for the future, and you have given a legacy to the children. Fathers, give time to your children. And also, they tell us that the mothers must have spoken to their children, saying, mothers, put your hand in the hand of your daughters and teach them that we are like Mother Earth. Mother Earth brings forth the flowers. It brings forth the plants, edible plants, the lethal plants, hallucinogenic plants, and let them know that there are some healing plants, that these plants nurtures us. Mothers, put your hand in the hands of young women and let them know that they too are the carriers of traditions. So that's sort of the life before Columbus.
Beautiful.
So we're sort of excited.
Oh yeah, and as a storyteller, it's not often that I get a chance to sit in the company of such an avid storyteller.
Well, I love telling stories, and boy, can I tell big ones.
Now, what prompted you initially to get involved with Indians discover Christopher Columbus? It's kind of a backward view, and you mentioned earlier of Native Americans look at it as kind of an invasion. It's kind of a comical view on that invasion, is it not?
Yes, it is, because with Christopher Columbus coming, oftentimes people will make Columbus as a hero. He was the doorway to the European civilization to encounter the Native American Indians.
Mm-hmm.
And 500 years ago, they tell us that the Native American Indians in the Caribbeans had a beautiful Garden of Paradise. And in fact, some of our stories as Native American Indians, we always tease about Columbus being not very, not very bright at times. He would put his shoes on the wrong side of the feet, and then he would put his pants backwards and wonder why he couldn't go to the bathroom quick enough. And also he would bring in a chicken and say, look, Mamma Mia, I have a chicken, and the chicken turns out to be a duck. And then as he grows up,
like a really smart bird.
Right. But he was very good at geography, because on his walls were certificate of A+, and map making. So as a child, we often think of Christopher Columbus being a little boy, having this dream that, oh, Mamma Mia, I have a dream somewhere out there. I'm going to find beautiful Indian women with long waving hair, flowing dresses, saris, spices I will find. I will find land, silver and gold. Whether I'm right, whether I'm wrong, I'm going to go after that land when I am a grown man. So he had this dream of searching for the Indians. And he knew that the world was round, but others said, hey, Columbus, you take off on that sea, you're going to fall off. But little Columbus still had his dream. So when he became a grown man, he tried to get support from Portugal. Nobody wanted to give him the funds to look for Indian land, because that was his dream. Somewhere out there is Indian land. I've got to have this Indian land. He went to Spain, and poor little Columbus, they would not fund his voyage. Then he gets a padre. Padre says, hey, Columbus, don't worry. I know the king and I know the queen. I have an inn and I'll talk to them, So they both went before the king and queen, and Columbus is standing there, and he has his project, and he said, oh, Madam Queen and Master King, whatever the formal names are. This is our Indian perspective.
Right.
And then he begins to say, fund me so that I may find land for you, that I may find gold and silver and bring back spices. The economy of Spain will grow, and there will be jobs for your workers, etc. And the king and queen sitting there not really listening to him. And the queen says, will you bring some silver and gold for my necklaces, etc.? And Columbus says, oh, yes, yes. And Columbus
How
says,
deep do you want to dig into your pockets to find my mission?
That's right. I need to dig into your pockets, is what he's saying to the king and queen. And then the queen says, well, have you done a feasibility study? Columbus, feasibility study, what does that mean? He said, you have your letters of support. And Columbus said, well, I don't know anything about these things you're asking me, but I'll run out and go get it. And he did, and he gets his voyage funded. And Columbus is ready to come to America. America, I almost said Indians before America. But anyway, Columbus and his padre, they gave the blessings for the king and the queen, and they're ready to come and look for the Indian nations. Really, India, that's where they're going. So they get on this boat, this ship, etc., in Columbus saying, I have this dream. I don't want anything except 10% of the money that I may bring in, the gold and silver. I don't want anything, but I want to be a viceroy. I want to be a governor of the land. I want to be the admiral of the sea. You know, he has his hidden agenda.
He doesn't want anything, no.
They said, I really don't need too much of anything. In the meantime, he gets on his ship, and he's going, and it's dark. It's silent out there. All of his shipmen says, Columbus, you told us that we'll be finding Indian land soon, and there's no land in sight. We're hungry. Our bread is mildew, and look, there's worms crawling all over our meat too. You know, we don't want this kind of living. So they become so angry with Columbus, and they began to tug on him, began to throw him over the ship, and he's dangling by his foot. And he looks up and he says, oh, he says, please, please don't throw me over the ship rail. Please don't. Suddenly he hits his eyes. Oh, my gosh, I've got something in my eye. And everybody drags him back and said, what's wrong, Columbus? He said, oh, my God. Oh, there's a bird up there. And then he says, the old saying, I'm glad cows don't fly. Right. And then suddenly Columbus sobers up.
New meaning to the foo bird, huh?
Right, and he, you know, he's a little cuckoo, but Columbus says to his shipmates, he says, wait a minute, shipmates, when there is a bird, there's an old saying that there is land out there. Sure enough, there was land out there. Mm-hmm. And around the corner are some native people, indigenous people out there. And the characteristic or traits of Native American Indians were friendly, were hospitable. Indian giver, the concept of Indian giver is that we give from the heart, to give. Mm-hmm. And the Anglo way thinks of us that we give and we take back. I mean, we've given so much. Columbus go and...
I think it's just the opposite. The Anglos, you know, give and they take back, and at least in the way that we, and I include myself in that because I'm part of this society, the way that we have treated the Native Americans, we haven't given them much respect because we haven't really taken the time to understand their ways as much as we need to.
That's right. And when Columbus approached the Caribbeans, he sees the land of paradise. And it's so beautiful. He kisses it. And then he sees the Indians, and he calls them gods, los dios, los indios. He is so grateful. And he said, oh, I found Indian land. You know, this is going to be mine. And he begins to say, I claim this portion for Spain. In the meantime, the Indians are looking at each other and say, who is that stranger? And one of the Indians said, hey, stranger, come over here and talk to us. You know, don't feel like a stranger in our land. We want to give you food. We want to give you bedding. We want to give you everything. Be our friend. But one of the wise Indians says, how can you say that? You should have put those people without papers are coming into our shores. We don't need them. We don't need population explosion. And, well, anyway, they welcome Columbus. And Columbus is wearing a beret, and Indians never seen a beret before. And one of the Indians said, hey, look at that. His wife must be a terrible cook. A terrible cook. He's making fun of our fried bread, and he's wearing that bread. And one of the Indians said, don't make fun of our bread. Our bread is the bread of life. It's the bread that causes us to survive. And they said, well, you know, his wife must have been angry and threw it at him anyway. They continued to laugh. And one of the Native American Indians began to sing, we-ah-ha-yo, we-ah-ha-yay, we-ah-ha-yo, fry bread that has held the Indian nations together. Big ones, little ones, fat ones, skinny ones, short ones, long ones, light ones, and heavy ones. They began to sing this fry bread song because it's the fry bread that gave them the staff of life. Another one said fried bread covered with beans, fried bread dripping with honey made by your honey. The fried bread that has held the Indian nations together, for we are the people of the land.
So is that where Oscar Mayer got their commercial from?
Probably, probably. And said, come on and share our bread. Let us, well, they didn't really want to share bread with Columbus. And Columbus is just looking at these Indians and said, wow, these people are so friendly. Wonder if I could have a piece of their fried bread, Columbus is thinking. I will not only get fried bread, but I'll get land, I'll get silver, I'll get gold, I'll get everything from these people because they seem so generous, the Indian people. And then he goes up there, and one of the Indians said, oh my gosh, here comes the Anglo wanting a piece of our fried bread. Shall we share with them? What shall we do? Shall we give a little bit? One says, no, 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 no. We don't know what these characters are up to. We don't know what their hidden agenda is up to. And we should have put up the signs and saying, no immigrants allowed. You know, do you have your paper? We didn't do that. Now we have an invasion of these strangers coming to see us. What shall we do? And another Indian who is wise comes in saying, well, here comes the Anglos wanting a piece of our fried bread. In the name of love, in the name of humanity, let us share our bread. In a humorous way, we present Indians discover Christopher Columbus laughing because there is pain within Native American Indians.
A great deal.
A lot of pain. And so you have any other questions before I say more?
Well, with what we've been through as far as the Western world and really not giving heed or even credibility to the Native Americans, we're beginning to do that now. So I think the timeliness of this play is perfect, and especially with the quincentennial celebration, it would give the rest of the United States a chance to understand, even in the humorous aspects, which laughter is the best medicine.
That's right, good
and
medicine.
Maybe we can begin to heal those wounds.
And we want to heal those wounds. I am really sad because of the fact our traditional way of life is saying that all things are my relatives, the plant life, the animal life, and humanity. If even one person is hungry, it diminishes me. If one person has no place to lay their head, it diminishes me. Our Congress has set aside $80 million in order to honor Christopher Columbus Day. At least, I don't know if their appropriation is there, but at least that was the recommendation. But in 500 years, when Columbus came, when they set foot on this soil, the invasion that took place, the Native American Indians that were here were taken into slavery, chained, dragged, and put into ships and taken over Europe to be mocked. That was the first time the Europeans came. 20 years later, an Inca chief was put in prison. Ransom was a room full of gold. Bring the gold to me, the chief will be let loose. The Indians came. Baskets of heavy gold. When they brought it to us, the room was full. The Inca chief was killed.
Beginning of a cultural genocide.
That's right, the cultural genocide. This was...
Speaking of cultural, with the Phoenix Indian School, now this is a related item with the Native Americans. We're coming up on the 100-year celebration of that, and that had been used as an educational center. Granted, Indians originally were kidnapped from the reservations and brought there and schooled and not allowed to talk their native languages, and were punished in doing so. Mm-hmm. Now, hopefully we've gone a little beyond that and can treat each other a little more humanely now. But with the Phoenix Indian School in particular, there's been an issue that it has a tremendous opportunity, or we have a tremendous opportunity, to allow this property to be used as a multicultural or as a multipurpose cultural center. Mm-hmm. Now, we're in the process of a land swap with the Collier family from Florida, Now, but this isn't just a local issue, it's a national issue.
That's right.
And kind of enlighten us on what all has been done so far to rally the Native Americans together for this issue.
All right.
As well as non-Indians.
Okay. The land issue, 500 years ago, the first concept was to grab the land. 400 years ago, England, France, and Portugal vied for the same piece of land. 300 years ago, legislations were made to take the Indian land. And with the log walk or Trail of Tears in 1850s, etc., land grabbing took place through legislation. 200 years ago, 100 years ago, the theme continues. With the Phoenix Indian School, 108 acres of partial land in the heartbeat of Phoenix. Right there, no one really thought of the Phoenix Indian School. 100 years ago, there was an Indian commissioner by the name of Morgan, commissioner, and within the past 100 years, that's probably from 1790 to 1890, they were killing Indians. It was okay, it was kosher to kill Indians. And to educate them was far cheaper to educate
Something
them.
that, wasn't there a headline in the paper when someone was running
In
for governor? He said it's cheaper to educate them than kill them?
That's right. In 1891, a BIA commissioner came out in our republic, Phoenix Republic, and saying it's better to educate Indians than to kill them. But whether it was Phoenix Indian School or Carlisle Indian School, the theme was the same. Kill the Indian, save the man. Kill the Indian, save the man, meaning that take away his culture, his language, whatever it is that makes a man, but convert him into a little brown white man. So he will think like us and act like us.
Again, the cultural
and be with us.
genocide.
The cultural genocide began to take place. In the Phoenix Indian School, around 1982, 83, 84, people were thinking about the land exchange. Out of Florida, in swamplands, the Calder family decided that they wanted that little piece of land. They negotiated with our congressional representative and our President Reagan. Reagan signed into legislation that indeed there will be a legislative land exchange with the developer for this little piece of Indian land or Indian school land.
It sounds kind of fishy. Now we've just gone through something with Charles Keating and buying legislature.
That's right. And so,
are we looking at something else now? Have we traded one for another?
Right. No one took any congressional leadership in order to say that this land here, we must give tribute to Native American Indians. This school has been around for 100 years. Many were educated initially. Kids were kidnapped there. Children died of loneliness. And it will be a bad mark on America. That piece of land should be converted into Heritage Park, 90 acres of Heritage Park, including a comprehensive multicultural center.
You've got some things that were written there by Hiawatha, if I'm...
Well, a friend of mine, Pat Seeds, have written the Phoenix Indian School Hiawatha song.
Okay.
Okay.
We've got just a few minutes left. If you could share with us just briefly some of that.
Indian students, ever gone now, by the silent school still holds their secrets. Mute and resolute, it holds their secrets. As the hot summer breezes whisper round it, defiantly whisper around its bricks, stone and mortar. Whisper of the students of the past days, blast out and gust to those who pass. See, many Native American Indian students died of loneliness. They were kidnapped, and some were hog-tied in wagons to be taken there. But they survived. They learned the language. They learned to understand. And through that, we had our Navajo code talkers, who saved almost America literally, so to speak,
Right.
could not break their code. But in essence, we are a people, Native American Indian people, who believes in the value and worth of every individual in the land we belong to. That Phoenix Indian School should blend multiculture as a heritage park, and for the tribute to Native American Indians, we must have a cultural center that represents the true beauty of all Indian people.
Now we're just about out of time. What can you share with us that we can take with us on a day-to-day practical level. Now, we already know that we need to be supportive of the Native American plight and of having this cultural center, which would not only be beneficial to the Native Americans, it would also be tremendously beneficial for the non-Indians, because it would be that initial step of integrating all the cultures, honoring the cultures and not trying to destroy them.
That's right. What the public can do is the Phoenix Indian School is a national issue. They can write to their congressional leaders, let the president know that.
And we've got a phone number, too, that they can contact you, and we'll have that in just a moment.
All right. 829-7221. All right.
We'll have it on the screen.
They can write to their congressional leaders and tell others that this heritage park belongs to all people, but it must include a cultural center there.
If we could have that number up on the screen, it's 602-829-7221, and that's your number, Jean, so they can contact you in regards to Indians Discover Christopher Columbus, and also the Phoenix Indian School Property Preservation Coalition.
Right,
And hopefully that we can begin to come together and come together in one spirit, one mind, one body.
Yes, and hopefully 1992 will be give back some of the lands that's been taken away from Native Americans back to the first Americans, our first people.
Begin to reverse the process.
Right,
And at least give back some of what has been taken away in the honoring of Native Americans. We've just about out of time, Jean. I really appreciate you being here with us today, and I'm sure that our audience has had their eyes open somewhat and hopefully can take the initiative and contact you or contact me through the show, and we can begin to work together in order for constructive change to take place.
Right. Let us be of one mind, one spirit, and oneness in God the Creator. May we watch each other to give of Mother Earth. One chant for many voices. We are yo hi yo hi yo. We yo hi yo hi yo hi yo. We yo hi yo. We yo hi yo hi yo. We yo hi yo. We yo hi yo hi yo. Thank you.
And thank you for watching One World. We hope you've enjoyed this show, and please get involved, because after all, it comes down to an individual effort, and only you can make the difference. Please contact us. Care of One World, 602-264-0986 is our phone number. Our P.O. Box, Care of One World, is P.O. Box 32035, Phoenix, Arizona 85064. Again, I'm Bruce Benefiel. Your door to what is Zendor. Namaste.